Please welcome to the stage Blueshift CMO Janet Jaiswal and the CEO of Webless.ai, Suyog Deshpande.
So there's this moment right now where there's actually these people, then they come to your website. Remember that people come to your website. And that really matters actually more than ever when they come to your website. So you really have to be prepared to engage with them in a way that they want to be engaged with. So about, I'm going to say 6 months ago, we put Webless.ai onto renegademarketing.com. It's a huge website with lots of content on it. And I think we're looking at 2x engagement because people are finding the content that they're looking for as a result of this. So with that, so yeah, how does Webless do this, optimize site traffic?
Yeah, so I think the most important question is, why do we need site optimization? Everybody has been talking about this for 30 years. What's different now? And I think the most important thing is if we are still using site optimization strategies that are same things, right? A/B testing, landing pages, gated resources, cookies, et cetera, you would have a site a year later that was optimized for 3 years back. So this era requires you to rethink about how site optimization needs to happen. Now, the thing is, there are two big shifts that are happening in the market. The first challenge all CMOs are facing is budgets are either flat or going down, but the lead gen targets are still up, and website contributes significantly to your lead gen targets. And the second, but more profound change that's happening is site traffic is going down, which most of you just raised your hands. But that's just half the story. The other half of the story is the intent of the visitors that are coming to your website is going up significantly. So earlier, your websites were somebody that focused on taking a top-of-funnel buyer into a middle-of-funnel buyer. Because now the buyers are doing all their research on ChatGPT and Perplexity, when they're coming to your website, they're already well-educated. So the focus is now middle-of-funnel to bottom-of-funnel conversion. And the challenge is the site was never built for that. So just going back to like naming the problem, we call this decision friction. They are looking for a shortest path to a yes on your website, but unfortunately, what you present to them is a brochure. It's just menus, drop-downs, paginations, hundreds of pages. It's very hard to skim through that. And that's where Webless comes into picture, which is we go through the entirety of the content that you have on the website, on your YouTube channel, on the podcast, PDFs, gated resources, infographics, whatnot, and we build out a search index for you that sits on your website. So we are a prompt that you can put on your website, and when a visitor comes and asks a question, we build out an experience right there. And the experience is not about just finding the content, it's about taking them down the funnel. If they are at the middle of funnel, how do you take them down? If they're asking for pricing, how do you connect them to sales? And so that's what we build out on the fly. And obviously, what helps with is engagement, like you are seeing, conversion rates, et cetera, et cetera.
So Janet, you put it, it's on Blueshift, right? Webless?
That's right.
Talk about it. What's going on there?
Yeah, so kind of like a lot of you guys, we invested quite a bit of time creating content. And sometimes they'll see it when it's new. You know, you're sending an email, a newsletter, and they see it. And then it goes into this pile, and it gets older and older, and nobody sees it. So all this great content is not discovered. So that's where we look to Webless to help us to uncover that content. So when they have that search bar that they go to on our website, they can type in whatever they want, like, you know, Blueshift versus whoever, or tell me more about this retail industry. Whatever it is, right? They're using natural language search, and they're discovering all that content that's buried, it feels like, and uncovering it for them and answering their questions live. So it's like a ChatGPT experience. And so it has increased our engagement quite a bit. And so now people are getting answers much faster. They don't have to surf through the entire website, right? Page after page after page, which, you know, we love our websites, but not a lot of people, you know, spend much time beyond like 2 or 3 pages.
Yeah, what's fascinating here is this moment where we've all moved, where, you know, we used to go to Google and we'd search and that would show up a bunch of results and we had to figure it out ourselves. We've now become, it's like, okay, tell me the answer. And you go to an LLM. So when you get to the website, they want the same experience. They want the answer.
They want the answer.
They want the answer. And you're not giving them the answer. You're giving them the pitch that you think that you want them to see. They want the answer. So Janet, any results so far and insights in terms of what other CMOs can sort of learn from your experience?
Yeah, for sure. But let me talk a little bit about kind of our journey for how we engage with Webless. So it's been almost a year. So we started with the search bar. Then we replaced our search that was at the top right of our website. So now, because that was static and it was very, you know, the answers were just very based on keywords. So it wasn't really satisfying for them. So we started seeing a lot of engagement. So we're like, okay, replace the search. Now, they're already captive. They're already on the searching and asking questions. And so what we did is, let's replace live chat. So we used to have Drift, old technology. Sorry for people who
They're not in the room,
Drift.
it's fine.
Okay. It was based on a playbook, right? It was static answers. Now people can ask in their words, and it gives you a wide, rich range of information that's relevant to that. So now the live chat is within that search experience. So no more having to go somewhere else to get it. When it's the right moment, we bring up the right CTA, or when it's the right moment, we'll say, live chat, talk to somebody in sales, right? So that's really helped us with that journey. And further to Webless's mission, which is increase that engagement on the website that you all work very hard to create, we're looking at personalizing those landing pages as well, right? So it's separate capability, but it's all part of that same mission, which is let's keep them on the site, let's keep them consuming our content, and let's satisfy them in terms of answering as quickly as possible. No more surfing till you find the answers. So you were talking about metrics.
Yes.
So we take a very personalized approach, right? We're not about volume. And so one of the things we've seen is, what was it, like 12% of people click on our CTAs. 12% of the people that engaged. That's pretty decent because those people are clicking on the most important CTA, talk to sales. We have around 13-14% of people that are looking at additional content. So beyond their first query of, they're asking a question, we are then able to get them to consume more content. And the more time they spend, the more engaged they are, the more likely they are to say, yeah, I'll talk to sales. So that was pretty cool. And then we have first-party data, right? So this is not intent. This is like live first-party information. What are they searching? What are the words they're using? Because that helps us to inform how do we change the website to answer their questions, right? And what are the hot topics? And where do we not have the right content? Because they're asking, and apparently they're not satisfied that way. So we're getting a lot of really cool insights that, honestly, we didn't have before. We were guessing.
I love that, by the way. So we got to replace our search bar on the top of both RenegadeMarketing.com and CMO Huddles because I didn't know that we could do that. So that's exciting. We'll look for that next year. You'll be able to talk about those results. One of the things that I loved about it is that when you get it up there on the tool is you literally can start to see the questions that they're being asked in that opportunity. And so with your other clients, what are you seeing as a result of being able to use this insight that's sort of happening in real time? Because the questions that they ask matter. Just like everybody else is using Gong to sort of look at the questions that customers are having. What are you learning from that?
Absolutely. I think that is one of the biggest focus areas for us as we develop our product roadmap is there is really unique first-party data that's getting generated on your website. We just heard the session about AEO where Guy talked about adding FAQs, thinking about schema, thinking about what your users are searching for, like asking your teams about those questions. You know what, Webless will provide all those questions to you. So it's actually something that feeds into your AEO strategy, and that's our next workflow that we are building to. Some examples you asked for, the common examples we see is content white space. It's like, hey, your users are asking about this quite a lot on your website, and you know what, we can answer it, but it's a low confidence answer because you don't have content about manufacturing, and surprisingly, you're getting a lot of manufacturing related queries on the website. So that's one. The second is content overlap. It's like you launched a product maybe 5 years back, and the price was whatever, $100,000. Now it's $200,000, but you published a blog then. So the world still understands the product to be $100,000. So how do you resolve this conflict dispute? There are many use cases that happen around the first-party data, primary being the AI SEO, feeding that engine.
So I'm imagining a future where I see that query. We don't really have a good answer on the website. The agent that, your tool sort of feeds it into my LLM that I've already customized for the brand, and like instantly we have real content that actually answered the question that they were looking for. Is that too far away? Can we get there?
That is something very, very near in terms of roadmap.
That's pretty exciting, because I mean, essentially what that's going to get to, and that'll probably integrate with what Webflow was talking about, is there should be, you'll be able to follow up and say, I know you asked this question, we didn't have a really good answer, we do now, here's the landing page with that answer.
Yep.
That's pretty cool. Yeah, I want that. I want that really fast. Can we do that tomorrow?
Yep.
That would be cool. We got some creative people in here, we can solve that problem. But
yes.
The essence of this is This is information, and a lot of this information has gone dormant. They've come to your website, you don't really know what they're doing. They click or they don't click. If they actually engage, what an opportunity.
Yeah, awesome. A huge opportunity. I think I just want to caveat the whole thing with one thing. We hear this from prospects quite often is, hey, why not just feed my website into ChatGPT and build out the search index myself? I think the important caution there is, one, this is your most important real estate online. Don't play with it. Like, make sure it's right, it's accurate, it has latency, all the guidelines that Google has followed, so there's a lot of depth in it. You have tons of content. You have code in developer documents, you have videos, and you have web pages. So ingesting all that information, chunking it requires a very deep search expertise, and that's what we hope to build.
Awesome. Well, Suyog and Janet, thank you guys both so much. We're almost at lunchtime. We're amazing. Thank you.